You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, just a couple of months ago, we all remember a very public fallout with Pat McAfee, of course, involving Aaron Rodgers coming on his show. One of his Tuesday Aaron Rodgers hits he does on the Pat McAfee show that, frankly, is some of the best entertainment you will see all week when he goes on and he, well, let's just say he scorches the earth. Well, look, Pat McAfee chose to go to ESPN, and at the time, when all this was rumored and then it finally happened, I was sitting back shaking my head because I was like, look, Pat, a lot of people supported your show specifically because you were not ESPN and you were not subject to ESPN policy. Now, for the most part, especially if you watch the YouTube part of the show, it's still very watchable. It's still good. But no doubt he's in the middle of a war right now with somebody at ESPN that I guess is going after his job. And Pat McAfee has come out and said that, well, he's been pretty stressed over the Aaron Rodgers-Jimmy Kimmel war, and that he actually lost some sleep over it. Look, there was a lot of fire around the idea that Pat McAfee was going to get axed at ESPN over this whole thing, and I can't stand Jimmy Kimmel. He's got one of the worst cases of TDS this world has ever seen. And he was always out there pissing and moaning about the Wuhan virus, this, that, and the third. And the point is, look, Aaron Rodgers made a joke. He brought up Epstein, and oh my God, the world exploded. And Jimmy Kimmel works for Disney. He's on ABC, which is owned by Disney. Well, they're the rottenest roosters in the hen house if there ever was one. So let's take a look at this. This is Fox News. Pat McAfee has become one of the most infamous figures in sports media today. I'm going to tell you what's funny is people have gone after him saying his ratings aren't great. Well, his ratings are actually still pretty good because if you combine in his YouTube numbers and his Twitter numbers, he's basically got the biggest reach of anybody involved in sports. He's a juggernaut. It just baffles me that people like Bill Simmons, of all people, have come out and tried to be critical of that show. I mean, what are you being critical of? The guy comes on, has the best guys come on, and just has conversations with that. Look, obviously it's something that resonates with people. I mean, you know, it is what it is, these haters. He inked a 5-year, $85 million deal with ESPN last year so the network could broadcast his daily show and parlayed into becoming a college game day analyst. I love him on game day. But it's his show, McAfee admits, where he has gotten into some, quote, shit. Aaron Rodgers has long been a guest on the show, and it's where the 4-time MVP turned plenty of heads. Look, McAfee has been vocal about the fact that Aaron Rodgers helped build that show. And that Aaron Rodgers was coming on, people made a big deal. Well, my God, he paid him $1 million. Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers didn't ask for it. It was only until after the show got big that McAfee was like, you know, I feel like I owe the guy something. And he gave him $1 million. I mean, number one, you built the show to the point that you could give somebody $1 million. That's impressive. The 4-time MVP made plenty of waves when picking fights with Dr. Anthony Fauci, Travis Kelce, Keith Olbermann about the Wuhan virus vaccines, but the show gained notoriety when Rodgers took it a step further with his quip about Jimmy Kimmel and Jeffrey Epstein. Quote, people were thinking we're going to get kicked off ESPN already. People were already assuming that it's not going to work, it's not going to last because Aaron started a war with Jimmy Kimmel on our show. McAfee told the All the Smoke Pod with former NBA stars Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. Jimmy Kimmel, obviously ABC, all the COVID stuff, calling out Fauci on our show. There was a lot. The block got real hot for about 3 weeks. McAfee, of course, was referencing when Rodgers said Kimmel should be, quote, hoping that the Epstein client list wouldn't come out. The consensus was Rodgers had insinuated that Kimmel would be on the list, but Rodgers denied that was the case. McAfee didn't exactly do himself any favors when he said that a high-ranking ESPN executive was, quote, sabotaging his show and was canceled by both parties. But in any case, McAfee defended his friend. The stuff Aaron's talking about, he's very passionate about. Aaron firmly believes that, he said. But Rodgers' controversial opinions have not only made himself an enemy in the public eye, but McAfee as well. McAfee admitted he didn't quite understand everything Rodgers was saying, which led him to doubt he even deserved a show. Quote, there's a lot of times where I'm like, do I even deserve to have this platform if I don't know everything about everything so this shit can't happen? And people don't end up hating us? Because there were nights I couldn't sleep. Like, I'm like, maybe I am effing this up completely. But McAfee had an epiphany. We're having conversations with people. You can disagree with them completely, but at least you learn and know where Aaron's at. This is a Mount Rushmore quarterback in the history of the NFL. In real time, you're learning about him completely. I feel like that's a form of journalism as well, even though people won't really talk about it. Look, I like it because, specifically, there are no holds barred. That's why I like it. That's why I appreciate it. In other words, Aaron Rodgers can come on there and say the shit that he says, and he doesn't get ripped off the air. You know? You just wouldn't see that. Nobody else is having Aaron Rodgers on. Or somebody like Aaron Rodgers. Look how popular Joe Rogan is. He is the most popular podcaster in the United States of America. And it's not that close. And nobody hardly has him on to talk about anything. Because they don't like his politics. It's ridiculous. At least McAfee's got some balls. I think they're just a different style of programming. We're a conservationalist. We've had no idea where we were headed. We don't have scheduled questions. I don't prep anybody when they're coming on. I don't have a list of questions. I'm having a conversation with people. And boy, it certainly got us in some shit. But it has also got us some magic. McAfee said that he is unsure of his future with College Game Day because he knows he isn't everyone's cup of tea. I don't really get that. I think he's really good on College Game Day. Now, I wasn't real happy with the idea that he was brought on and David Pollack was taken off. Because David Pollack was really good on there, and I thought he was like a meteoric rising star at ESPN, and they laid him off. I was like, wait, of all people, you got rid of David Pollack? For real? And then there was rumors going around that it was because of McAfee coming on. And I'm like, I don't love that, really. I mean, that's not really Pat's fault. I mean, maybe he had no idea that the two might have been intertwined or connected. And maybe they weren't. But, from the outside looking in, I know what it looks like. Look, I appreciate what it is McAfee does. I mean, he had the added juice of being an ex-NFL player when he started his podcast, so that certainly helps versus somebody like me and John, who were just two guys in Texas that started up 4 YouTube channels, right? And we've grown into 370,000 subs across all channels or whatever it is, and we reach a lot of people. But the point is, he did build that from scratch all the way to the point that he's obviously turned it into sort of like a sports phenomenon kind of show. There's a Mexican food place that's very popular in the town that I go to, and we go in there about somewhere between usually like we like to either go right after the lunch crowd or right before. Every time we go in there, Pat McAfee's show is on like 10 televisions. I mean, that tells you right there. His show that was, and if you go back and watch some of the earliest videos of McAfee, It's amazing what that thing has grown from and into. It's impressive. And I appreciate the fact that he's willing to have Aaron Rodgers on there and push the envelope, and that he doesn't have any questions for him. Good. I'm sick to death of ESPN First Takes and Undisputeds and all of those kind of crappy shows. That's why I much rather listen to sports radio sometimes and this and that and the other, like Boomer and Geo out of New York. They're a little edgier because they're in New York, and they say a lot of things that you just won't hear on Texas radio. And Boomer, he's kind of leaning in my direction on a lot of issues, even though he doesn't talk about it a lot, and that's fine. That's good. But at least I've got an idea where he's coming from. Tell me what you think. Aaron Rodgers is stressing McAfee out, but he does appreciate what it is he's been able to do for his show. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.